What if I told you that the reason you're hard stuck isn't because of your aim, it's actually because of your mind?
Shut your f***ing mouth, you
You're training like a machine, but playing like a human, full of ego, emotion, and overthinking. In this video, I, zasko3, the mechanical coach, am going to show you how to optimize your mental game so you can learn faster, tilt less, and enter the flow state more often. First of all, if you want to learn faster, you're going to need to stop judging and start observing. Most players get stuck because they confuse performance with progression. Missing a shot does not mean failure, it means feedback. Feedback is gold, but only if your ego doesn't throw it away. My good friend Timothy Galloway once said, "The first skill to learn is to not judge." The best learners detach their identity from the outcome. They treat each map like a study session. Review your VODs, write what you've learned. You're not here to win every single fight. You're here to collect data, adapt, and evolve. The simple mental framework that I used while I was grinding was, what did I do well? What do I need to improve on? And what am I going to do next time? This allows you to reinforce what's going well so that you don't let it slip away. It allows you to identify something you need to work on without judgment or ego. And then the final step allows you to create a simple plan for next time. That way you don't go into your next game just simply repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Let's say that framework went well and you do have something that you want to improve on, but maybe it's quite surface level and you don't even know how to go about tackling the problem. All you have to do is ask yourself a simple question: why? And then ask it again 4 more times. To show you how powerful this tool is, Viper kills me here, but why did she kill me? Pretty easy. We can see that I shoot her shoulder and I wasn't accurate. But why did I miss my shot? Slowing down the footage, it looks like I'm actually rushing the shot because I wasn't taking my time and I wasn't focusing on just clicking the head. But why did I rush the shot? Watching back the footage, I can see that not only was I tracing an angle with angle disadvantage, but I was also tracing way too close to an angle while running, and what that leads to is the target appearing on my screen way faster than I'm prepared for, me needing to flick and compensate for that movement, and well, the result is I felt really rushed. Okay, why am I tracing an angle when I have angle disadvantage? I should know better than that as the mechanical coach. It appears that my conceptual mechanics are a little bit rusty and I need to work on my picking decisions. But why are they rusty? Well, I've taken a couple weeks break, so to be honest, I already knew the answer from the get-go, but you can see the amount of depth that I got from that one single death just from asking myself one word: why? Be careful with the 5 whys framework though, because there's no excuses once you do end up with something to work on. You gotta put in the work now and get some deliberate practice going, otherwise you know the problem and you're not doing anything about it, and that's a whole different thing. Deliberate practice is purposeful, focused, and feedback driven, designed to push you just beyond your current abilities. This here is the heart of my coaching, and when I have a student come to me looking to better themselves mechanically, the first thing I do is rip away all the mindless reps. I stop them from grinding long hours hoping that it'll just click, and instead of getting them to just spam out some kind of Aim Labs playlist whenever it feels good, we instead find the low-hanging fruits that they need to work on and then make sure that every single session has a specific goal. Not just to quote-unquote get better, but rather improving our aiming discipline while peaking. Improve our ability to read the movement of a target that's dancing all over the place. Whatever it is, the session has a mission, and that's what makes it deliberate practice. If you do want to skip the whole mental framework side of things and trying to hunt for your own problems, you can always just hire me to do it all for you. It's my job as a mechanical coach to find those low-hanging fruits, give you an extremely clear direction to take your training in, and if need be, even jump into a custom game to make sure that you've got these ideas down. For more information on that, link in the description. But whether it's me finding the problem and creating a training program for you or you doing it for yourself, the key is deliberate practice. Improving in this way should be mentally exhausting. You're constantly noticing different patterns, making these small adjustments to your gameplay, and then reflecting immediately after you get in a few reps. If you're coasting through or you're just on autopilot, it is not at all deliberate practice. To make this easier though, just like a mechanic working on a single engine part of a car at a time, we're going to break down complicated ideas into smaller parts. If we're working on gunfight IQ, break it down into when to fight or when to fall back. Eventually, it'll all come together and bang, your gunfight IQ is dramatically better. Now, from the neuroscience angle of how to optimize your learning, the one thing that I can tell you is that your brain learns best in calm, focused states of mind, alpha and theta brainwave states. You don't need to understand anything deep about these things, but just know that multitasking and negative emotions shut this this down. And that's why it is crucial that we focus on an anti-tilt mental framework. Tilt isn't just rage. Tilt is when your emotions hijack your decisions. It happens when the thinking part of your brain or the voice in your head tries to over-control every single move you make. But of course, if you've read the inner game of tennis, you know that your best plays don't come from control. They come from trust. A prime example of this is when you're playing comp and everything's going wrong, you're overthinking things, you're getting more and more frustrated, and eventually you sit there and the scoreline is like 3-12, you're about to lose and you give up. In that moment, you end up deciding that it's not even worth thinking about this game anymore because it's lost, and well, lo and behold, everyone starts playing their best Valorant and you start hitting the craziest shots ever, and that's how comebacks are made. In the inner game of tennis, Timothy Galloway explains the two selves being self 1, the critic, the thinker, the micromanager, and self 2, the doer, the body, the instinct. And well, tilt happens when self 1 dominates and doesn't let self 2 play. The fix is once again to observe without judgment. When you die, don't just rant, observe, adjust, trust. That's the mental framework of the elite performers. A great rule is having some reset rituals. For example, the second a round ends, mute your game, do some breathing, drink some water, get your posture reset, and just calm the mind, shift away from the stress and, mentally reset. You can do this again on an even bigger scale in between your matches, have a full mental cooldown where you actually get off the computer for a second, but the idea is just to reframe tilt in general and stop trying to control the outcome of everything. One thing I will add on top of this though is if you're really struggling to control your mind whatsoever and the idea of just changing the way you think in a particular moment is challenging, the key is seriously just go and meditate. Through meditation, you'll develop control of the mind and you'll develop self-awareness. You'll know when you're tilted and you'll have the control to be able to say, hey, just trust the process. We're all good. Now, let's talk about flow. The peak state where everything just clicks. Flow isn't luck. It's triggered by trust and presence. You hit flow when the goal is clear, for example, to win a round. The feedback is immediate. You know when your bullets are landing or when they're not, etc., etc. And the challenge is just slightly above your skill level. Most players kill their own flow by overthinking mid-match, and that's again self-one stepping into quote-unquote help when realistically you've already put in all the reps and all you need to do is trust yourself to do it. Trusting the body and quieting the mind is essential to play in the flow state. You've already trained your mechanics. Just let them flow. Don't try to aim, just let the shot happen. You'll be amazed at what your brain can do when you get out of its way. In the context of mechanics, what does this mean? It means that you need to get your reps in outside of comp. Build intuition through that training, through those repetitions, and then when you do play comp, you let go and you trust that they will show. Thinking about results mid-match instead of just being in the present moment, judging things mid-match, and of course the negative self-talk, all of these things are going to destroy your flow state. And once again, if you cannot control your mind enough to stop these things from happening, meditation is your best friend. The action plan that I want you to walk away with is actually really simple. Step 1, develop control over your mind through a form of meditation that works best for you. For me, it was a form of walking meditation. Use that newfound control over your mind to stop the self-judgment, stop the negative talk, stop thinking about the results, and most importantly, stop micromanaging your gameplay. Next, couple this with a training schedule that you know is going to yield results. Again, I can help with that, winky face. Train it extremely deliberately using the methods we discussed earlier so that you can learn more effectively and overall build trust in your mechanics, because of course you're going to be seeing growth in them. At this point, by quieting the mind and deliberately practicing, not only are we now learning faster, but we are tilting much less and entering the flow state a hell of a lot more. If you found this useful, please subscribe. If you want to join the Kofi community and be a part of a super cool exclusive Discord where we give away a free coaching session every month, link is also in the description. I love you all. Peace out. Goodbye.